Vikings Colts coming at you right after the bumper. What's going on, all you savages? Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time checking it out, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Today we're hopping into two teams that were playoff pushers in the beginning of the season. Both kind of had a bad game in week 1, and then we'll be pushing to see what they can do in week 2. We got the Indianapolis Colts versus the Minnesota Vikings. They're playing in Indy, but let's hop right into it. So it is only week 2, but this game has a lot of playoff ramifications in it. Going back to 2002, only 11% of teams that went 0-2 have made the playoffs. So this is a game that is a must-win for both sides. So both of these teams want to pound the rock as they normally do. But whoever is the winner of this game, I feel like is going to be the deciding factor of who is more effective and consistent in the passing game. So on one side, we got Old Man Rivers, who did not have a good game last week. He had 2 interceptions on very bad throws. And on the opposite side of the ball, we got Kirk Cousins, who did average 10 yards completion and had 76 completion percentage and had a decent game. But whenever I just watch Kirk Cousins, I'm just not overly impressed. And he did have a couple good throws to Adam Thielen, but he's going to need to be just as consistent as he is in that game and just keep handing it off to Dalvin Cook and Phillip Rivers. He's going to be needing those dump-off passes to Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. But whoever wins this game is going to have to limit the turnovers, and I'm leaning more towards Phillip Rivers on that side. He needs to limit those. And looking back into last year, he was almost like a beta Jameis Winston, throwing just as many touchdowns as he does in interceptions. He's going to have to clean that up. He's going to have to play better in the system, lean on that offensive line as he can, and be smart as he ages in his career. Luckily for both quarterbacks, both secondaries are absolute boo-boo. If we looked at last week, Gardner Minshew only had 1 incompletion and kind of was a buzzsaw on that side of the ball. And then on the opposite side, Aaron Rodgers cut through that defense like butter and had a top fantasy week last week. And I would not be afraid to play either of these quarterbacks for fantasy football purposes this upcoming week as well. So one key player on the defense for the Vikings secondary has to be Holton Hill. Going into his 3rd year, he was an undrafted free agent. Has decent size, sitting at 6'2", 196. He got taken advantage of last week. Finished with a grade of 29 overall on PFF. And that is something they are going to need to either flip in Jeff Gladney, who was a first-round pick this season. Only saw 9 snaps, but he did play well for those 9 snaps. So one of those players are going to have to take the next step, and that's going to be a good remedy for this defense. The one bright spot I saw on this defense in the secondary was 3rd-round pick Cameron Dantzler, who I had ranked as an early 2nd-round pick, and a lot of other analysts kind of had him up there as well. I liked what I saw from him, and what I liked coming out of college was he was a very versatile corner. He can play on the outside, he can play in the interior, he can be that nickel defender for you, and he's good in man and in zone. He's not great at any of those, but he's good at all of them. That's what you really need in that nickel position, and he almost reminds me of a young Logan Ryan. He's not super athletic, but he's not also afraid to get his nose dirty. I look forward to see what he does this upcoming week and this upcoming season. I think he may have got a steal in the draft there, and he played more snaps than any other corner for the Vikings, so I'm really looking forward to him. On the Colts side of the secondary, I was not impressed by anybody. Everybody just kind of played below average. They're going to have to at least come up a little bit in that line, or they're going to have a very bad secondary this year. And if I had to pick out one player, it's got to be Xavier Rhodes. Came in as a free agent. And coming into last season, he was a premier corner and then just got burnt more than albino not wearing sunscreen. And he's going to have to come back into relevancy at some point in time, or this Colts secondary is going to be in trouble. So looking at these rushing attacks, last week James Robinson ran all over the Colts, and I have no reason to think that Cook won't be a fat kid in the kitchen all game, chewing up those yards. On the opposite side of the ball, though, is this Jonathan Taylor's coming out party. With Marlon Mack coming down, he is going to be a premier running back in this league for many years to come. Obviously, Marlon Mack being in his contract year, they're probably just going to ship him out. There's no reason they shouldn't. But we also have Nyheim Hines, who's going to be that 3rd down running back for him, who's going to catch a lot of passes. Both of these players are going to catch a lot of passes. Jonathan Taylor, coming out of Wisconsin, didn't have that really in his repertoire. But that's similar to somebody like Melvin Gordon, who played with Phillip Rivers, who caught a lot of passes and developed that pass-catching prowess I have no reason to think that Jonathan Taylor won't do it either, especially after catching 6 passes in his first game of his career. I think this will be his coming out party. He'll be a top 10 fantasy running back, and I have him ranked as high as 7 at the moment, rest of season rankings. So my MVP pick for this game is going to be Paris Campbell. Came in and actually showed something last week after not showing a whole lot all of last year. I think that Phillip Rivers is going to target him a lot, especially in the slot, and I think he's going to have a touchdown or 2 in this game. So that brings me to my predictions. I have the Colts winning this game 28-21. They just are a little bit more consistent. They limit the turnovers for this week. They move to 1-1 in the division and move into that 2nd or 3rd spot, depending on where the other 2 teams finish, being Jacksonville and the Tennessee Titans. But that is it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and y'all have a beautiful time.